WMSE's Local Live is supported by Club Garibaldi. Located at 2501 South Superior Street in Bayview. Open 7 days a week, Club Garibaldi serves burgers, hot wings, and more, and features live music weekly. For more information and Club Garibaldi's live music events, visit clubgaribaldi.com.
Thanks, Club Garibaldi. We love you. And now we're going to turn it over to the Bob and Genie Friedman Live Performance Studio for a live set from Field Report.
I will get blacked out in a snowstorm with an airbag burn on my cheek. Check the wreckage, walk away, okay. I'm gonna change. I'm swearing to him, plowing through the trees. But you're in my blind spot. 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 This heart is a cold cave. My mind is a parking lot. Your voice came like a frost quake on the plains. This old body is a closet filled with hoarded nothings. My soul is a cathedral in an air raid. You're in my blind spot. You're in my blind spot. You're in my blind spot. You're in my blind. You see, the trouble with flying is the gluing on of feathers. Then there's a body just laying at your feet, still faithfully yours, unchanged, unhinged. We did not ask to be, but you're in my blind spot. You're in my blind spot. You're in my blind spot. You're in my blind. You're in my blind spot. 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 Hey, good to be back here, the Mighty 91. I'm Chris, this is Barry, playing bass. Barry, I feel like I cut you off on that last one. I'm sorry if I did. I felt like you had more to say. It's the peril of being live on the frontier, out here on the frontier. So we're playing songs off of a record that comes out on Friday. It's we're Field Report, by the way. Oh yeah, finish your thought there, Bear. Finish your thought. in the north where the tracks get wide. Hiawatha and the sun is shining. Little 7-Up poured on stomach lining. It'll settle down in time. I took the change jar from the entryway. You were busy piling up your rage into a hill to climb to shout at God. Rub your pink scars in his face. Baby, nothing's fair. We bet against the house. You got drunk and said our love was doubt. Doubled down. Now the table's turning over. The fall is falling through. And I miss you like the old songs. Up loud, the way we used to do. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. The week the dog went deaf, I called for her all night. When I found her, I stared into her big dumb eyes and mouthed, everything's alright. Panic in the quiet. Tonight is chiming like the hangers in your closet, banging wire on wire, tinkling together like when you left for the first time. I'm pacing room to empty room, gathering all the clues you left for me to find. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. If I could still live inside your occupied mind. Far out. I'm doing a little live radio tuning right now for you. We got to shout out Mr. Billy Cicerelli, who's engineering this. And we just had a pretty deep convo back in Billy World. It was good. He's a good man. How do you, you? When we lit up and left, how the smoke, it must have bloomed. Billowed to the clouds and back, white, gray, and black, while the morning blew. Now we tell it now, depends on who we're lying to. We ate the fruit, learned the truth, spit the pits in the corner of the room. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. You were bouncing off the guardrail, shouting at the wind. We were off our meds, drinking again. We played them like a stolen violin. I knew my outlines and my ends. I waited for something to kick in. They could not understand. They were embarrassed by sincerity back then. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. In a flash, I was wearing every one of your brand new tattoos. And I took off my shirt like East Moline and read upside down what you've been up to. Then a car crashed through the wall, and there you were in the room. And the blood red blood bled out to your outline, and it colored you in. You were close enough to cough on, your breath smelled like creme de menthe. Headstones, dial tones, you said, hey man, where you been? If I knew what I know, so far yet to go. If I knew what I know, so far yet to go. If I knew what I know, so far yet to go. What I know, so far yet to go. Never knew what I know, so far yet to go. Never knew what I know, so far yet to go. Sick. Hey, we're going to do one more, and then we're going to take a break. Barry and I are both maybe just a pinch under the weather. We'll try not to breathe on you. She said, why don't you try summertime songs, golden warm, soft like the setting sun, not hot and sharp like a hornet swarm, or the warning blast from a tornado horn, or June bugs hissing July in half. I love you in the low ebb, baby, but let's dance. I don't know. You didn't have to stop, babe, but I could never hang. The good days come in waves, they crest and crash. See, I've been running hot, babe, something's gonna give. I've been sleeping out, babe, dreaming about the kid. I've been hearing shots, babe, I know they're in my head. I've been feeling ghosts, babe, moving in the wind. And if I should disappear sometime before this child is born, what is recovery really but cover up your tracks again? And in the neighbor's window across the street, you can see the TV through the fitted red sheet. And the other night I heard him screaming. I turned off our lights and called the police and hid on the corner of the front porch waiting. And as quiet as a gas leak, I slowed my breathing, just singing summertime songs, summertime songs, just singing summertime songs, summertime songs, summertime.
Okay, we've got two members of Field Report in the studio with us. They happen to be the two that were just playing music for you. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You guys sounded fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love hearing these stripped-down arrangements of the tunes.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun exercise. We like to, we love having the opportunity to just kind of dig in and just see what happens. It's a nice part about having people like Barry in the group who are like legitimately talented musicians. You can kind of just like throw whatever at them, and they're just like, okay.
Well, this is a good group of fellows that are all really talented in their own worlds and from a lot of different backgrounds. And I think we've built these tunes in a way that they can be, sort of full-blown stage production kind of stuff. But then we've also really peeled them back to just their sort of core, what is happening. And I think you're sort of hearing some of that a little bit in what Chris and I are playing tonight. But it has been a nice exercise because when you strip it all the way back and you sort of fundamentally understand what the other elements of the group are doing, you can better understand your role. And then as the layers get put on and the production of it gets larger, that fundamental understanding is still there. So there's like a security in actually stripping it all away.
Mm-hmm. So like the complete opposite of this performance, you guys just played one of the final shows that will ever occur at the Bradley Center. What was that like?
Amazing. It was actually like an incredibly, from a performance perspective, incredibly pleasant surprise. We had the same crew of people that were running sound for our gig at the Riverside on New Year's Eve. They were running sound for us at the BC. So they sort of knew what was going to be going on, so that helped. And I was just so pleased by how well I could hear everything on stage, despite being in a huge concrete box. Mm-hmm. You could hear everything really well, which felt good.
Yeah, it felt and sounded better than we had any right to hope for it to do. And that was due in part to, the great people running our front of house, but also the Bon Iver crew brought in what I understand to be the largest sound system the Bradley Center's ever seen. Really? To sort of like almost annihilate that environment and just like defeat it like right away and just be like, nope, this is going to be the point of view that is, happening this evening. So sorry, concrete room. You essentially don't exist. We're like blasting you out of existence.
In a sometimes problematic room, and I actually had spoken with a couple friends who were in like the way, 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 way back and up high seats who were like, we could hear everything crystal clear.
That's awesome, yeah.
So, yeah, that was good.
I was very shocked at how quiet it was
mm-hmm.
for being a room packed full of people.
Yeah.
I mean, especially during the Bond set. It was just like you could hear people shifting in their seats. It was just so hushed and everybody was so just engaged. It was amazing.
The most polite Bradley Center audience of all time.
Yeah.
So then what was the South by Southwest experience for you guys like this time? Like how did it compare from like the first time you were there to now? What are the differences?
Yeah, so I think this was maybe my fourth South by Southwest. The first one ever was in 2010 when Ryan Madison put together like an all Wisconsin show.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was in the Conrad Plymouth days, and so everybody just piled into their cars and just drove straight down to play one set somewhere at some patio on 6th Street and then like drive home. So that was that was pretty far out. And then 2012 was the first Field Report shows ever. That's kind of when that switch flipped. And so we ended up doing like 13 shows in 3 days or something.
Wow.
Just obscene. And from that point on, I've sworn to never go back, and I've since been back twice. We went back in 2013 and did like a slightly more humane Field Report trip. And then this time around, how many sets did we do? Like all in all, we were on the hook for, I think, 10 things.
Yeah, somewhere in 9 or 10.
And I think we went 8 and 2. Like
okay.
we had 8 wins and lost 2. One of those was a solo thing, so I bear full responsibility for that. But overall, it was good. I feel like it had swollen to capacity, like peak South by 2013 when we were there. And it's starting to sort of correct itself, I think, or maybe not by itself, but whoever's guiding the ship. Like it seemed a little more humane, just organizationally and operationally. It was a little easier to get around, fewer bands this time around, it seemed like. But it was good. We had a good trip. We had a couple of nice ones.
Excellent.
Yeah. Sounds like a good score.
Yeah.
8 to 10.
Nobody
yeah,
wins
yeah,
them
yeah,
all,
yeah.
right?
I mean, you can win your division 8 and 2.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know, yeah. The animal of South by Southwest is completely overwhelming sometimes.
Right. Totally. Yeah, and it was your first one, Barry.
Yeah.
Like, how did it line up with your expectations and understandings?
Well, in the weeks leading up to it, when I would mention to people that I was going to South by, there was a lot of, yeah, I went once, and then that was the only time I ever went. Or there would be like, yeah, you're going to see all of this just wild stuff. It's going to be so overwhelming. And it was like kind of like your olfactory senses were just overloaded because there's always a sound coming from somewhere. There's food trucks on every corner, so you're always smelling something. There's always something trying to grab your visual attention. So it was really intense. And, the other guys in the group, Tom especially, has these, South by horror stories of like, yeah, all your stuff just gets thrown up on stage and then it just gets yanked right off and then you're stuck in an alley and it just all these like nightmare scenarios. But luckily, none of the scenarios we encountered were nightmares. We definitely had some, well, here's your South by experience. But then we had some really just sort of like above and beyond hospitality and just like really great showcases that were going on. So I think all in all, I mean, I hope we ran the gauntlet well enough that we don't have to run that gauntlet again. But, if we go back, we'll go back,
Fair enough. Well, welcome back. You made it. And, not to dwell on the fact about like touring and such, but Chris, you've logged so many miles on the road in both Conrad Plymouth by yourself and Field Report. I want to know, like, just from a curiosity perspective, what's the most useful thing you've learned in getting outside of the Midwest to play your music to different coasts, different scenes? Has any particular area outside the Midwest emblazoned like some sort of beautiful memory for you, or maybe a like horrified memory? Like, don't go back there again.
There are many horror stories. What was that spot in Montana that we like?
Oh.
Well, whatever. We won't dwell on that. But yeah, no. I think the biggest takeaway from being out and coming back and whatever is, you just have to, like, I've learned at least that you're at your best chance to be successful with what you want to convey with an audience when you are like not just pushing out, when you're also receiving. Like when the room is telling you something, whether that's the people in the room or the way the room sounds or whatever, like just if you can like receive some of that information back and process it with what you're putting out there too, it goes a long way as far as just like, what is this situation calling for? And how can I do my version of me, but tempered with what this is asking for too?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about at first, about how being able to strip things down in some environments and build them up in other environments. Just having that flexibility while also having like a core belief in the work. It just makes that's what I've learned. And like for a while I used to try to just do it at people. And that can work sometimes if you get lucky. But when you do it with people or with the room or with the situation, it just works a whole lot better.
Yeah. Building up your EQ,
yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah, totally. Like your personal,
yeah,
totally. Like your personal EQ for the room or the audience or whatever. Like, ooh, something's a little shrill here. Let's dial back the 1K.
Yeah.
Billy, did I say that right?
We need to start including him
Billy
every
rushes
portion.
Now the songs on the new album, they've definitely been kicking around for a while. You debuted them live last summer. I'm just kind of curious as to like, is there a good story for like the journey it took to get from there to getting with Verve and getting the record out, or is it just like a too boring of an industry tale to even bother with?
I mean, it's a lot of inside baseball. just like a very, very long baseball game, like hundreds of innings. And I don't know, honestly, if the full story will ever be told. But, it's a funny thing when you're trying to, when you're making art, but also the intent is to get it out of the bedroom. It's like, there's just, things have to line up and it has to make sense. And so our situation sort of changed, and suddenly we were free agents. And so we just ended up, like, the Verve people got the record and understood it, which was really exciting for us. It was thrilling, and like I kind of didn't believe it at first. It seemed like a pretty elaborate, like, punked sort of thing. But it's been amazing. So they have a legacy label called Verve Forecast, which is like a sort of a songwriter. Verve is traditionally like jazz and classical and stuff, but they had like this songwriting imprint. Guys like Tim Hardin and Richie Havens, like people. I've always sort of been like a baby boomer taste sort of guy, I guess. Yeah. So that was right in my wheelhouse. And they rebooted that imprint to put out the Field Report record. Wow. And so we're the first Forecast artist of the millennium, which is pretty bananas. And they've got a lot of stuff planned for that label, and everybody over there has been incredible. We got signed by this guy, Mike Viola. He took over A&R there for all of Verve, but specifically he's got a personal interest in the Forecast side. And he was Ryan Adams' guitar player and band leader for a long time and producer. He also wrote all the songs for That Thing You Do.
Okay.
So and a bunch of tunes for Walk Hard.
Yeah. Wow.
So he's like a songwritery fellow, and that's kind of where his heart is. And for him to hear our record and to not only relate to it, but want to get behind it was really, really cool.
No doubt.
Yeah. Wow. You guys, breaking barriers.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, since the last record, you've introduced new members into the band, like Devin Drobka on drums. He's traditionally a jazz drummer.
Yeah.
Barry on bass, and Barry does his Adopt a Highway project, which is more like industrial.
Electronic stuff, and then I do stuff with Tontine Ensemble, which is the contemporary music string quartet that I'm in. But Chris asked me to be a part of Field Report. It was actually kind of an easy situation to fall into because Chris and Devin and I play in Argo Pelter, which is like our improvised song trio that we started several years ago after playing together for an Alverno Presents event. And when Chris asked me to join, it seemed to make a lot of sense. I came on to kind of do some festival runs for the Marigolden touring cycle, and then it really fit. It felt really good, and then I was in the studio for this last record, and it's all been pretty good there. But I think, Chris brought me on not just because I happened to play bass, but I think he did have an ear to some of the stuff that I was doing. So when he did bring me in, I was able to sort of bring some of those influences. Tontine Ensemble, the other string members of the band, play on some tracks on the new Field Report record. Did some string arrangement for it. There's a lot more use of synthesizers and electronic elements that both Tom and I kind of had our hands on. Tom's electronic world is something that I am just so enamored with, and I've been a fan of his music for a long time. So to have him be in this band is really great, personally, and then to just have both of us sort of be working together in that environment is really something special.
Yeah, I don't know if people realize Tom's other work in Emotional Joystick, All Tiny Creatures, Cocoa Bees, Volcano Choir.
Yeah.
I want to know, with all you guys working together, is the writing process, obviously it's exciting, but is it even more exciting because you're not only involving more genre backgrounds, but also more seasoned writers who do their own solo stuff, so you're all collaborating now as writers.
Yeah, I think so. I think on this record, this band is bananas. It's kind of a dream lineup for me. Like everybody has so many strengths and skills that I don't have, and I've learned that as a band leader, you don't always want to find people who are like you. You want to find people who aren't like you. You want to find people with strengths where you have deficits and or abilities where you have interests, but not, And so this crew is just kind of a pretty serious bunch of hitters. And so that lent itself to being more collaborative earlier on in the recording process, and to have everybody in contributing very early, and then reacting to previous contributions and just sort of building things that way, rather than me trotting in and saying, here's a folk song, this is how it goes, play the thing. It wasn't that at all. It was all very, let's present some ideas and see who gets energy and excitement from it. And if there's energy and excitement, let's follow that for a while.
Yeah, that's good.
That's awesome. It's cool to see you guys going in so many different directions at once, especially with the at the live shows anyway. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some like the band taking on some of the older stuff and seeing what direction it might go in, if that happens.
Yeah, we've sort of started poking some of that stuff. Yeah. It's been so weird having this record not out yet, and so we're just like, just continue to try to get dialed on presenting the new record. But we're really looking forward to being on the road consistently for days and weeks at a time, so we can have an opportunity like during dedicated sound check to really start playing with some of that stuff and seeing what happens.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well, before we run out of time too much here, you guys should go out and play a couple more tunes for everybody, if you don't mind.
Are you sure, Barry?
All right.
Barry says yes.
All right. Barry says yes, so we're going to have some more live music. Excellent. And we'll be right back with that in just a couple of minutes.
You got that middle distant look again. Feel the unrelenting minute, or a 60-second distance run. Gotta get out while you can get it. There was the weekend of the wedding, and I know somewhere there's videotape. Can you feel the river rising for the camera and for the rage? Was I the only one? Was I all the ones I seem to love scan the sky with hawk's eyes. They find something they gotta kill, they find something to get startled by. I wanna teach my wings to work again on a 60-second distance run. 'Cause everyone who holds me close is starting fires that block the sun. Was I the only one? Was I in that quiet corner place. It always kept us awake. I've been trying every angle. I've been searching through the videotape without a 60-second distance run. Could anyone have seen the change?
Well, thanks a lot, you guys. This has been really, really fun.
If one of us is the ocean, and if one of us is the moon, haven't found the pattern yet, figured who's been pulling who. Turn the telescope back around, get these troubles out of view. Forgiveness does not excuse, it's just to prevent everybody from destroying you. Never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back. Before the matter was settled, before there was a name for this, you were out dancing in traffic, near miss, and you thought you would pull it off, but everybody knew all along, if they ain't picking up what you're throwing down, at least you gave them something to talk about. Never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back. Cut my hair with your pocket knife. I trust you with my eyes closed. I just need you to try, I don't need you to know. 'Cause I've earned what I've been growing. I'm all about the day when we cut it all off and we throw it all away. Forgiveness does not excuse, it just prevents all of the others from destroying you. Never turn around to the back, 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 turn around to the back, turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back. I'm not one of those who can.
All right, we're back in the studio, Chris and Barry, and I think this is your song was kind of a Barry pick this time, was it not?
Yeah, Chris kind of lobbed this one to me, and I'd like to think that I slam dunked it, but we will.
Let's find out. Yes. So tell us about Colleen.
Well, Colleen, she is a French artist. I think her given name is Cecile Schott.
Okay.
And this is a record that she released late last year. Actually, I know the date, October 20th, because it came out the day before I asked my fiance to marry me.
Oh.
So I kind of have that date. So, hi, Susan. I love you. But anyway, this record, I've been listening to it. I've been a fan of Colleen for a long time. She is a real experimental artist. She's done things with viola da gamba, drone stuff, very minimal, using electronic elements. So her penchant for experimenting with her sound, I think, sort of ties into what Field Report did on the latest record. What I think is really interesting about what she did with this album, A Flame, My Love, A Frequency, is she sort of like, I think she was hanging out, I can't remember what studio it was, but there was a Critter and Guitari organelle, like pocket synthesizer that she just started playing on, and it just like completely opened her creative mind. And so she went in and like, I think, I'm fairly certain, aside from her voice and like a delay, everything is the Critter and Guitari, the organelle. So I just think it's a really beautiful record. Her entire discography is really great to listen to. It's really good headphone music. It's really good car music. It's good music for all emotions. So yeah, I think this tune, Summer Night Bat Song, is a really beautiful piece of music that I think is going to hopefully turn some people onto her.
That's what we like to do with this segment, yes. Awesome. So I haven't heard this before, so I'm very much looking forward to it as well. So let's give it a spin.
Anyway, the thing is, what I really need.
Be like the bird that nearly flew into my room. Nowhere to stop, nowhere to stop. Turn around and swoop.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in, playing, and talking with us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
We should mention the shows, the release shows coming up.
So we've got a couple of dates in Milwaukee. April 20th and 22nd, we'll be doing the back room at Collectivo. The 20th is Kaylee Conway is supporting that night, who we are super into. I like way believe in what she's up to. She rules. That show is sold out. The 22nd, Buffalo Gospel is opening up, who I believe is probably the best band around. They're outstanding. And that show is, as of this morning, was not yet sold out, but very well could be. So if you're interested, get your tickets quick. Otherwise, we'll see you soon.
Be out and about.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's edition of Local Live on WMSE. Local Live is a production of WMSE Radio, recorded and broadcast live from the Bob and Genie Friedman Live Performance Studio on the downtown campus of the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Local Live is produced by myself and Erin and engineered by Billy Cicerelli. Video by Moleskin Productions.
And hospitality for Local Live artists provided by Cedar Teeth Pizza, who can be found online at cedarteeth.com, Anodyne Coffee, who can be found online at anodynecoffee.com, and by Sprecher Brewing Company. More info at spreckerbrewery.com. For upcoming guests and archives of past Local Live performances, visit WMSE.org. And to find the records, Summertime Songs, visit your favorite record shop.
Mm-hmm.
Tune in again next Tuesday at 6 for another edition of Local Live. We have Sundial Mottos coming in, and Cal will be flying solo. I'm so bummed. They're such a great band. You're going to have such a great listening experience next week.
Absolutely. Stoked for that one. And everybody stay tuned for Midnight Radio. We'll see you next week.